Tashideleg, the world's most pivotal climate event, the United Nations Climate Change Conference COP29 is underway in Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan. At this year's summit, Tibetan delegates are bringing critical attention to environmental challenges in Tibet, particularly the anticipated ecological impacts of the Derge Dam project. This hydropower development is expected to transform the Dechen River with significant consequences for downstream communities that rely on its resources. Joining us live from Baku, we have Dechen Palmo, an environmental research fellow at the Tibet Policy Institute, here to offer insights into these initiatives and report on Tibet's presence at COP29. Welcome to our program, Dechen.
Thank you, Pandela, for
To start with, I'd like to ask, what's the atmosphere like at COP this year, and how optimistic are you about bringing attention to Tibet's environmental issues?
Okay, so this year COP, as you have mentioned earlier, it is being held at Azerbaijan in their city Baku, and it is for a 2-week conference, and starting from 11th to 22nd of November. So unlike those other conferences, this conference is dubbed as a climate finance COP, and for this their carbon as their central goal. And in this conference, it has been the participants over here, they mainly discuss about how much money they should gather here, and how can they help those developing countries to cope up with the climate-related disasters. So they in this COP, they are planning to set new collective quantified goals on climate finance. And earlier, over the past 5 years, they have been set the target of over $100 billion. However, now in this COP, they are planning to increase that climate finance. And over here, I got to meet many developing countries representative, and they have mentioned that this COP, although they have this plan to improve and increase the climate finance up to over millions of dollars. However, when I asked them like whether they are optimistic about getting that, reaching that target, and they says, like when they are having in bargain with the developed countries, they need to set the bargain, their target and high, then only they can achieve the, in billions dollars. So this money, they will be used to, as I mentioned earlier, they will be used to help the developing countries who are facing all those disasters. So they although they says that over the past years they have pledged to give those $100 billion to those developing countries, but however those countries, mainly the African countries, they haven't received any money from those the climate fund. So that's the situation here. And as per our advocacy work and related with the Derge Dam project, we have, although it's not direct related to the issue that has been discussed at the COP, our main goal is to bring the issue of Derge and how the people in Derge were being forcefully being displaced because of dam construction, and all those dam profits and the electricity generated from this dam would be transferred to the major cities of China. And it is the people, local people, who are facing the difficulties, and in the by forcefully displacing them or also destroying the monasteries that has been there since 14th century, and they have these very important murals and tangas that is getting destroyed. So we approach all these government delegates here, and also attending site events, raising the question whenever we get the opportunity. So these are the work which we have been doing for the past 3 days. Yeah.
And did you find any avenues or any pavilion or any the site events within the summit where the Tibetan, our environmental concern, such as the Kamkato Derge Dam project by the Chinese government and its destruction for the Tibetans living there, did you find any event where you can possibly discuss this issue?
Yes, on the first day of the conference, I visited many pavilions. However, most of the pavilions, they discuss about the energy transition and how the ones government they have been doing to promote the green energy in their own country. And what I did is I have visited the Cryosphere Pavilion. And that Cryosphere Pavilion, they mainly discuss about the glaciers, and how the climate change is warming and how those glaciers are being melted. And in that, I got to meet the delegates there who were talking about to the other people who are coming there to listen to them. Then she was talking about the how glaciers are melting in North Pole and South Pole, and the rising of the sea levels and all. However, I have also in between I get to talk about the third pole, and that is Tibet, global warming and how it's impacting the livelihood and the people living in Tibet as well as in the downstream countries. And then I also got opportunity to visit indigenous group pavilion. During the Q&A session, I've asked about their suggestion of how we can, stay outside of Tibet, how we can help the people who are there inside Tibet. Because I have giving the example of Derge Dam, I've spoken to them about the people, how they were forcefully relocated, and there were no any free and prior consultations before the construction, and there were no any kind of environmental impact assessment done on those project. So they have said that they can feel, because the whatever they were speaking, it is very much we can totally relate with what they were going through. So they said their older generation have gone through so much, and it is our responsibility, the younger generation, who have to bring those issues out in the world and seek their support, international support, because they said it is we shouldn't give up seeing all those atrocities and suppression from the government. We should raise against this, and it is not I have mentioned that we have the Tibetan government in exile and how we are working, and every year we are coming to COP conferences, raising these issues of what is happening in Tibet, because in Tibet, people were not able to speak, and even if there is no any platform where they can raise this issue with the government. So whatever they do, they were forcefully being suppressed. And then when I mentioned about that, they were very got connected with us and me, and then they told us that we should continue to fight together and this injustice. Yes.
So Dechen, so personally having attended several COP summits over the years yourself, if you could change one aspect of the summit, what would it be?
I think it would be wonderful. Like earlier, I have attended a few of conferences, and over there, I haven't seen much of the indigenous group. In those days, there wasn't more of the indigenous group platform. However, with the changing times and the importance of inclusion of voices of those minority it is now they have this huge platform for the indigenous community. And I think it would be very important for the United Nations to also include the voices and giving platform to those occupied nation who can also raise this concern about what is happening in the region. Since all those countries, if we see most of the countries, they have their own countries and they will bring their own agenda, and without considering what is happening in the other region. So as a country, they will only think about their national interests.
Mm-hmm. And yesterday you have attended the China Pavilion discussion within the side event within the COP29 there. So what was the discussion about which you have attended, and were you able to raise any Tibet environmental concern? It looks like the discussion hall. There are a lot of Chinese presence, Chinese citizen or Chinese people from the government. So it looks very intimidating to ask questions. But were you able to raise any concern, or what was the discussion all about?
Okay, I have so far I've got the opportunity to go there twice. It is mainly about how China have, come up with the green technology and green initiative, which they were they tried to show that they were the leaders of the green revolution, that has been green energy transition that has been happening in China. And also they are boosting about the energy. Mostly the China is one of the leading green energy resources. If we compare with the rest of the world, they were around 60% of the green energy comes from China. So they were talking about the hydropower, mainly on the solar and the wind energy. So that's one of the main issues that has been discussed. And I've attended the full event, and I've waited until the end of the session, so that I thought like there would be a Q&A session where I can raise issues related with the Tibet, because like when they talk about the ecological civilization, it is very much related with what is happening in Tibet, because like Chinese government, they were building lots of national parks, ecological resettlement program that has been happening throughout the Tibet. And so it is very much related with the Tibet issue and Tibetan concern. So I thought of raising this kind of question with related to nomad resettlements and all. However, there's no any Q&A session at the end. When I was going through the books that is there for the distribution, and they have insisted me to take picture of this book, Xi Jinping book, with me. So they were asking if they can take the picture of him with me. I said, of course. Then I took the picture, and then later on, after finishing this, taking picture, I said I also wanted to take picture with you. So I hand over this booklet to brochure to the Chinese delegates. And she have also, at first she hesitated. And then later on, she took and we took the picture together. And I said, please, I asked her about the head of the delegation, and I told her to head over this to head of your delegation. And then she said, okay, then yeah, that's the what happened in the conference, and especially at the the China Pavilion.
In the pamphlets, you have the 10 calls for action, right? So can you briefly take us through that? What is it about? Just briefly.
Okay, so this 10-point call to action is mainly about the to stop the unauthorized dam construction. So we wanted to, we urge the Chinese government to stop all this dam construction without the local consent, and also to end the forced relocation of all the Tibetans, and also release the Tibetans who were detained due to the protest. And also we have urged the Chinese government to promote transparency. So there would be many dams that were planned along the river. So this is not the first dam, and this is not the last dam. So there will be many coming up, and we urge Chinese government to disclose the information of hydropower development on the Tibetan rivers, as the region where Chinese government are building dams, mostly a seismic prone area, and we request them to have a assessment before building such dams on those rivers. So there were also point on for enforce free, prior, and informed consent from the local community, and at last, like we have this to urge the Chinese government to release and to stop criminalizing Tibetan activists, mainly who are working on the environment. Since it is related with the environmental issue, we urge them to release the Anya Santra and Kamasamtu, many others environmental defenders who were imprisoned and now serving the jail term now. So we urge them to release those environmental defenders.
So, Dechen, thank you so much for taking out your time today and for talking to us about Tibet environmental concerns at the COP29 Baku this year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pandela.
With this, we have come to the end of today's program of In Conversation with Tibet TV. Thank you so much for watching.